Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and it is that time of year, the time of year of the Beatles Vinyl Tag, and one I don't think really popped up too soon after the new year, so I know I just kind of looked it up on YouTube a couple days ago, and channel Mark Morris, he made one because he kind of said the same thing, he didn't see any out and about, so he made one and called it a Beatles Vinyl Tag, since he didn't know if it was going to be the official one or not, but I watched his video, and I think it was a pretty good one, and I'm going to do the 2026 Beatles Vinyl Tag. So there's 10 questions and 5 bonus ones that I'm probably going to do as well. So question number 1 is show and talk about your favorite Beatles acquisition of 2025. It can be a record, collector item, Beatles product, etc. And as a vinyl collector, and that's kind of what I'm mainly about on my channel, I'm going to show some records here. Well, one LP, 145, since I kind of collect both. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and do that. But this would probably be the top item for me this year, and that is the Beatles Blue box set, aka the BC13. And this is just kind of your classic Beatles box set, and finally able to pick one up for a good price earlier this year, actually earlier last year, 2025, in January. So finally able to pick that one up. So that was my favorite Beatles acquisition, LP edition, and then my favorite 45 of the year. I finally got a first pressing of Love Me Do on the Parlophone label from the UK, their first single. So found this at a record show back in August. So very happy to pick those up, and a couple honorable mentions. If I was to pick a favorite solo album that I got, would have been the Twin Freaks. I got that on vinyl. I was going to shrink the hype sticker and everything like that. And if you haven't listened to Twin Freaks, give it a listen. If you got if you're cleaning around the house or got some busy work at your desk, it's kind of a fun listen to, and it kind of keeps it chugging along. It seems like, so I enjoy listening to it every once in a while. And then another honorable mention would be the Beatles Beat from South Africa. I picked that one up this year as well. Okay, question number 2 is show an artist or band on the Apple label other than the Beatles or solo Beatles. And I picked this 45 up earlier this year, and that is Badfinger, Come and Get It, and Rock of Ages. And this is a UK pressing, and it's on the nice solid Apple label, which always looks really nice to me. And then the B-side. Always like the Apple label. One of my favorite labels. I mean, kind of biased, but I think it's a great label. And then number 3, we got some Beatles lyrics. It says show an album that has songs lyrics that you particularly like, and ones that make you a little cringe, that kind of cringy. So I'm going to start off with the one that I like, and I'm going to go solo Beatle here, off of George's Brainwashed album. This is my vinyl copy with the hype sticker and everything, and we're going to go with Any Road, and that is, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And for me, kind of right now, I'm kind of in between college and then like finding a job. So right now I'm just kind of going with the flow, and that's okay. I just need to find something I enjoy for a job. I did well in school, but I didn't really like any classes. I'm like, that's what I want to do. So I just kind of going with the flow, so that's why I picked that one. And then let's see, pick a particular one that makes you cringe. I'm going to cheat a little bit here because there's some obvious choices, I would say. But I'm going to go Rubber Soul here. It's not what you think. You might think Run For Your Life. No, I'm actually going to pick In My Life. Now, it's a really good song. I understand. I heard it a ton. I hear it everywhere, to where now every time I hear it, I was like, I either want to turn it off, or I just feel kind of cringy listening to it for the millionth time or something like that. But obviously, when I'm listening to the record, I'll listen to it and enjoy it. And when the new outtake or take on Anthology 4 came out, that was kind of a breath of fresh air of that song. But it just gets played a ton and every time I hear it on the radio, I kind of switch off of it. Not gonna lie. So that is that one. Again, some other choices would be When I'm 64, like Little Child or something like that. But I'm gonna go honest on this one, and that every time I hear it in my life, I feel that kind of like I'm good. So that was number 3. Number 4, it says display some books you would recommend to other Beatles fans, up to 3. And again, I'm going to go more Beatle vinyl collecting focus because that's what I like to do and kind of what my channel is about. And we're going to start off with the Perry Cox books. These really help me kind of see what's out there, especially with all the variations. He's got a Capitals album and 45 books. He's got this price guide book from 2007, which still holds up pretty well today, which is pretty much shows all the combination of 45s and albums in most of the versions from the United States. Um, it goes through all the CDs that are out there as well, and kind of gives you a rough price guide. Again, the prices still kind of hold up to this day pretty decently well. So this kind of gives me a lot of information to see what's out there, so I know what I want to kind of collect and find, and what's a good price out there. So price guide book I would recommend. And then here are kind of the books that Bruce Spicer makes as well. And this shows all the different variations of Beatles records, all the different pressings, all the different label variations. I don't necessarily go too specific for at least the UK records. I'm just happy for a first pressing, but it tells you all the differences and all that kind of stuff like that. And again, there's a Capitol Albums book. Yeah, the 4 was Bruce Spicer on that one, but that's a Perry Cox book. The Bruce Spicer has these kind of books on like the Capitol and albums and 45 labels, which I actually don't have. I actually borrowed it from one of my friends. That had some books, so I kind of looked at that. So I'll probably pop up a picture of those Capitol album books as well. And then I guess a real easy one would be the Anthology book. You can probably find a used one for like $5, but that's always kind of a nice coffee table book just to kind of have and look through as well. And then speaking of Anthology, question number 5 is Anthology controversy. Did you buy the 2025 Anthology box set in any form? And discuss. So currently, I don't have any of the new Anthology releases. I do plan on getting Anthology 4 on vinyl. I have some store credit at a local record store, so I'll at least get it for probably half of what it originally cost. So I think it's like 70 some dollars. I think I have about $30-$40 in store credit. So that was pretty much the only way I was wanting to get that. The box set, this was kind of the first time in a while I didn't get the Beatles box set. I got Anthologies 1 through 3 on vinyl, the original pressings, so I didn't really feel like I needed to. I know there's some different mixes, so the CD box set still might be on the table. It's just a question of, am I going to listen to them a lot or not? So I definitely want to get Anthology 4 on vinyl, especially if I got some store credit. So I will get that eventually. Okay, here we go. Going to name a total Beatles songs that you would like to hear get a full Beatles treatment. And I was kind of thinking about this one, and I wasn't quite too sure because a lot of the early Beatles or solo Beatles albums, a lot of them did kind of play on each other a lot, if you think about it. And this one already kind of has a Beatley version of it, but I would like to see some songs on All Things Must Pass get some Beatles treatment. Obviously, All Things Must Pass, they kind of have an anthology version, or yeah, good. There's some outtake with anthology, All Things Must Pass with the Beatles version. So I would like to see that one get a Beatles treatment, or like Isn't It a Pity, things like that. So that's kind of my pick for that one. And then let's see. If you have one, show a picture disc. I'm going to show this one right here because all I got to do is flip it around. And that is the Zoetrope picture disc from earlier 2025 for Record Store Day. And I'm not going to take all of it out, but the packaging is also pretty cool as well. But there is the picture disc for that question. And let's see, picture disc, and then for some reason, notice question 8. You're condemned to listen to just one Beatles compilation for the rest of your days. What do you choose? So this one, you kind of cheat a little bit because you can probably pick a box set and still, it's kind of a compilation. So if I were to pick a box set, I would actually go with the Liverpool box. I'll throw up a picture of it because I actually don't have it, but it's something I'm looking for. I just never had an opportunity. I haven't seen one in person, really. They're somewhat pretty cheap for an 8 LP box set, if I do recall. But without cheating, I would say I would go with the rock and roll music compilation. I do like kind of the Beatles more rocking type sounds, and this might have been one of the first compilations I got, and I listened to this one a lot. And it has a good span of songs from early to later years, so I would be pretty happy with this compilation. Cover artwork, you know, what it is, but the songs on here are I would I would that would suffice for the rest of my days. I would believe. Just get that mix of early to later, and you got 2 LPs as well, so you got a lot of music on there as well. And then let's see, number 9. Do you feel that there's an underrated Beatles song? If so, show kind of the album it's on, or in my case, I'm gonna show the single. But this is my favorite, one of my favorite songs, and this is my favorite single, and that is going to be, I think, underrated song is going to be Rain. And this is Paperback Writer, Back with Rain. On the single, this is the Canadian version I just kind of picked up. And I think it's getting a little bit more, I guess, popularity, maybe. I hear it a good bit on the Beatles channel, at least every once in a while. And anyway, it's one of my favorite songs. As kind of, I would say, a casual listener probably won't find that deep cut too often. And then for the true Beatles fan, a underrated song, I would have to go with, let's see, got this one here, Live at the BBC. I would have to go with I'll Be On My Way. I really enjoy that song off of the Live at the BBC Volume 1, I guess I could say. So here's just kind of the CD version of it. So I really enjoy that song, and I know some people really enjoy it as well, but that's a pretty deep cut for any casual listener. And then number 10, Beatles singles. Show a Beatles 45 with a cool picture sleeve or from a different country other than where you are at. And I always got to go with this one. This question is always kind of up my alley because I love different picture sleeves from all over the world. As you can probably guess, I've probably shown this a few times now, but this is also my little icon picture, and that is, I want to take it out of the sleeve. Get Back with Don't Let Me Down. This is the Italian picture sleeve that I use for my icon. So I use the Yellow Submarine cartoons, and I always kind of like the little Apple label there, and I don't know, I just really think it's cool. So I'll always pull that out for a favorite picture sleeve of mine. And that is the 10 questions, but we are going to do the bonus 5 because why not? And the first one is show a favorite Beatles record on the Capitol label. Now, I'm going to go with more, I think it's a cool album because it's on the Capitol label and it kind of exists in itself. It's pretty cool to me. And we're going to go back to Canada, and that is Beatlemania. This is the one, if not the first, Beatles Capitol albums in North America. So I think that has a pretty cool factor to it. And this one also kind of eluded me for a while. I found one when I first started in record collecting, and I didn't know what it was, so I passed on it. And then the next time I went back to the store, it was gone. And then I didn't find this one until about like 8 or 9 years afterwards. So I finally picked this one up, and I think it's just pretty cool that kind of exists, really. Okay, so the second bonus question is that is there a solo Beatles song that you feel is just as good or better than any other Beatles song? So I do so believe, and I'm going to go a little bit different, I think, than maybe some other people would say. I'm actually going to go with a Ringo song. And this is his probably best well-known and probably best song from his solo career, and that is Photograph. And I don't know, but I would believe if the Beatles were still together and they still had Photograph, I don't know if they would have Ringo sing it or not. They probably would, but I still think it would be a massive hit. So I'm going to go with Photograph, one of my favorite Ringo songs, if not my favorite Ringo song. And then bonus question number 3 is, do you have any Beatles EPs? Show 1 or 2 of them. And of course I do. And we're actually going to show 3 because I was going to show 2, and then I found another one right next to it, and I was like, that's a pretty cool one as well. But I'm going to go with this EP from Spain. Got the Yellow Submarine pre-cartoon Yellow Submarine, which I always think is cool. So that's a pretty cool cover there. And this was the bonus one that I kind of picked up since it was right next to it. And this is the Beatles Girl EP, also from Spain. And this one's kind of interesting in a way that, they just got them lined up some cigarettes there. So it's kind of dark picture sleeve there, but really cool nonetheless. So there's that one. And then the other EP I was going to show was my only record from New Zealand. And this is the Beatles number 2 from New Zealand. So that is pretty cool there, and I'll even show the label because it is on kind of a unique red polyfilm label. And those are some EPs from my collection. All right, bonus question number 4. Is there a particular Beatles song or album that brings you back to a specific strong memory for you? And I'm actually going to go back to the Rubber Soul that I showed. And one of the first Beatles records I ever found was at a salvage yard in Pennsylvania. Me, my brother, and my mom went there, and I was wondering, like, do you think they have any records there? And my mom and my brother were like, no, that's kind of not the type of place for that. They'll have more architectural stuff. But sure enough, they had a room of records, and this is like just getting into the Beatles, trying to listen to all their music and all that kind of stuff. Time frame for me, and so I was like, okay, there's got to be at least like one Beatles record here. And we're flipping through it. I found an Abbey Road. My brother found a Rubber Soul. So those are the first 2 records that I bought for my collection. So I went back to my grandparents' house because they were up in Pennsylvania, and we listened to those 2 albums while playing some cards with my grandparents. So yeah, Rubber Soul always kind of the U.S. and Rubber Soul and the Abbey Road always kind of takes me back to finding those for the first time and playing some cards in Pennsylvania. So there you go. And then number 5, shout out some of your favorite Beatles vinyl channels. And one of my favorite channels, he's now started finally making some videos again. And that is Beatle Dave's Beatles channel. And I always really enjoy his videos. He always shows some great stuff, and the production quality is always good as well. So shout out Beatle Dave. He always gives the shout outs, and now I'm shouting him out as well. So that will about wrap up this vinyl tag. I had a pretty fun time going through all this stuff. Now it's time to organize everything back in order. But yeah, Beatles Vinyl Tag 2026 completed. Stay tuned for more videos.